The elderly President Donald Trump was visibly confused in yet another moment of disorientation, this time about magnets and water. The oldest president ever to be sworn in stumbled over his words, really struggled to put together a coherent sentence. In fact, Trump launching a brutal attack on the English language. This was during a speech in Asia just hours ago at the USS George Washington Yokosuka Naval Base. And Trump looking disoriented, talking about water and magnets as the troops stand silently, terrifying.
I think I'm going to change it, by the way. They have magnets. Not every tractor has hydraulic. Every excavator, every excavating machine of any kind has hydraulic. But somebody decided to use magnets for your, maybe they're good. Which is better?
Maybe they could, which is better?
Hydraulic or magnets? What the hell is wrong with these people? Can I ask you, the top-ranking gentleman right here? Seriously, I'm putting out an order. I'm going to sign an executive order. When we build aircraft carriers, it's steam for the catapults, and it's hydraulic.
Steam for the catapult.
For the elevators. We'll never have a problem, okay? Do you agree? He agrees. Everybody agrees, but these people in Washington. All right. We're going to do that. I'm serious about it.
This is not a guy who is well. He is not coherent. It is not making sense. And meanwhile, later in the show, we'll talk about the very obvious desire from the White House not to explain why this guy just got an MRI. Trump's brain is jumping from topic to topic with the attention span of a housefly as the troops just stand silently, stunned by the direction that this is taking.
Gulf to what is now known as the Gulf of America. Isn't it nice? They say it now routinely. I heard the news today. The Gulf of America, weather is wonderful. They don't say it with a smile. It's called the Gulf of America. How did that happen, right? And it took me, for many years I said, why is it called the Gulf of Mexico when we seem to have the shore? Well, we do. We have 92% of the shoreline. So I said, when we make it back, not if, when, too big to rig. We made it too big to rig. I said, get out and vote.
I know many of you are confused. It's confusing. None of this makes sense. He's jumping from topic to topic.
Too big to rig. Make it that way. I said, I'm going to change it. And one of the first things I did is I changed it. Nobody could even fight it. They tried. We got sued all over the place. We won every suit. And it's now officially the Gulf of America. Isn't that nice? But our sailors have written honor, greatness,
and yes, people are yawning. This guy here in the lower left was yawning.
Triumph into the pages of history. What you're doing is incredible, and it's an incredible time for our country. On gun decks and flight decks and torpedo rooms and cockpits, the men and women of the Navy have poured out their blood and sweat and tears to defend.
This is not normal. This is not how a normal person communicates, never mind what we would expect from the President of the United States. In another truly demented moment, Trump started ranting about what boats and ships and missiles do. And submarine. What about submarine?
And you've been watching what our missiles do to boats and ships and submarines. How about the submarine? They said, no, that was just fishing. The radical left Democrats said, well, it was a submarine, but they were just fishing. Submarines don't go fishing, do they? You know more about submarines than I do. You have a beauty park outside, actually. This is a submarine, and you know what it was designed for? Transporting drugs, and it got hit.
Biden at his worst was not this bad. Biden was a terrible communicator. Biden was clearly slowed down. Biden would sometimes lose his train of thought and then regain it. But this is just endless ranting about nothing. Maybe the most insulting moment of the speech was when Trump said to the troops, I'd love to have your job. And of course, it's insulting because Trump lied repeatedly and faked a medical condition to avoid having their job when he was up for being drafted as a youngster during Vietnam.
Thank you very much. A big hello. This is a special group of patriots, champions, winners. You are winners. Oh, I'd love to have your job. I'd love to have your
I'd love to have your job. What a disgusting thing to say when you lied your way out of it. And then Trump wrapping up with a couple of lies. First, that grocery prices are way down. This is not true.
Very important. After years of crippling inflation, back home we had the worst inflation in the history of our country. Energy costs are down. You know, energy costs are way down. Gasoline prices
Remember, electricity's up 10%.
are way down. Grocery prices are way down. We have a little problem with beef. We're going to get that down very quickly, but the prices are way down. Mortgage rates are down despite having an incompetent head of the Fed. I call him too late. He's always too late. He's too late in lowering interest rates. I call him Jerome Too Late Powell. But despite having a totally grossly incompetent guy, we blow through it because we're doing so well. And very important after years of
It's going nowhere. And the troops realize that this is going nowhere. And finally, Trump has the audacity to disgustingly push the big lie that he won in 2020. This is an inappropriate thing to be saying in any environment, but especially in front of the troops. Come on, man.
here, guys, campaigning. You know, we won the second election by a lot, so we had to just prove it by winning the third by too big to rig, I called it. It was too big to rig. And it was an amazing victory. And thank goodness we won because we were in big trouble. We were in big trouble. But the new recruit.
This is not the way to go and speak to troops. But most importantly and most relevantly for us, his brain's not working right. And after the break, we are going to dive into what is very clearly becoming an attempt to cover up the reason for the MRI that Trump received, what they were looking for, why it was done, and they are being very obvious that they do not want to talk about it. Sometimes the best snacks are the ones that have been around for a long time. You don't have to reinvent the wheel to get a great snack, and that is what our sponsor Masa is aiming for with their delicious tortilla chips that are made the traditional way. You know I love this stuff, okay? Masa makes their chips with 3 ingredients: organic nixtamalized corn, Redmond real sea salt, and 100% grass-fed beef tallow. The chip is sturdy. I don't want a weak chip that crumbles when I try to dip into the guacamole. I need a sturdy chip, and that is exactly what Masa's tortilla chips do. They also are using non-industrial oils, which pushes the industry away from some of this unsustainable monocropping. I also love that. If you are ready to try the most delicious tortilla chips you've ever had, which are sustainably produced, go to masachips.com/Pakman and use the code Pakman for 25% off your first order. The link is in the description.